I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Mr. Brightside spins them up and wins again. Zardozi wins the Oaks for J-Mac. The photo finish. Mr. Brightside or Romantic Warrior.
The mare's going, great guns, Fangirl. Look at her go, Fangirl.
Imperatrice has got her. And raced on by Imperatrice by a length.
Overpass, more Baker's Delight in Perth.
Radina just won it, I'd say. Tom Ketton won the spring champion in a cakewalk.
Without a fight, won the Caulfield Cup.
Well, here we are, the last episode of 2024. No review podcast this Sunday, and unfortunately for you drifters, for the people of you that are watching this, you've only feasting your eyes on me because my esteemed co-host has a prior engagement, which is very unlike you on a Wednesday.
It is unlike me, but you know what? It's that time of the year where we're approaching Christmas, and I don't know what it's called in other industries, but in recruitment we call it silly season. So it's just the diary's getting chock-a-block, and there's certain Japanese interests that need to be satiated on a Wednesday night. That's all I'll say.
Interesting. So are you saying that like future meetings that like could be involved at like a Japan Cup in future years or something, and that's in your best interest to host these meetings today?
Look, I don't think the tax man would question it if there was something that was allotted come tax return time towards a Japan Cup as a business trip. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like it. Well, what about a trip over to Ascot for the Northerly Stakes? Do you reckon you'd go over there for business?
Look, I wouldn't try and find an excuse to get there. If I had to go there for business, then I would. It's a pretty subpar race, isn't it? Look, we can talk about this endlessly about the Ascot Carnival and whether it justifies being Group 1 status, but they do deserve something over there. I just don't know if the Northerly is really flying the flag. Would you agree?
Well, I think of the three Group 1s that they have, I think the Northerly is the best of the three, in my opinion, because you see in previous years, some bloody good horses win this race. Amelia's Jewel, Arcadia Queen, Western Empire come immediately to mind within the last 5 years.
That is true.
Or did Western Empire, did he win or did he go down?
I think he lost as a short price favourite, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it has, if I was to keep one over there, I think this would be the one.
Okay.
In my opinion, but you're entitled to yours too.
Absolutely. But, the drifters don't give a shit about what we think about when it comes to Group 1 status. They listen to this podcast, mate, because we just find unlimited winners. Unlimited. Like, the numbers just keep on coming. Like, last week, the victim was 0 from 10. Like, that's just unbelievable. So, they're clearly tuning in because they want to find out who we think is going to win.
That's true. So, you've been Team East Coast. To be fair, so have I. So far from both the Group 1s. Are you Team East Coast this time?
Yeah, I am. I think, the proof's been in the pudding, right? They're 2 from 2. Is it the 2 that I thought it would be? No. So maybe third time's a charm. I said on the review podcast on Sunday, I was like, I'm not sure about attrition being favourite for the Northerly, but the more I look at it, the more I think to myself, well, if he brings his Hill Stakes form over 1,900 metres, beating the likes of Kovalika and Royal Patronage, if he brings that, I think he can win. He ran 4th in the 5 Diamonds behind Pericles, Freedom Rally, and Yellow Brick. I think if all those 3 horses were in the Northerly, they'd probably all be sub $12, you would think. So I think he's bringing superior form. He gets the right sort of draw. He's a horse who I think he enjoys the travel, and he's a stallion. So I think he can go deep into a prep and still find some more. So I'm with attrition. Look, the $4.40 with Neds is certainly not too appealing. And you can probably find some others at a bigger price if you're value hunting, but I'm happy to stick with him.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like this is a race where I was very keen on Sox Nation and I had a saver on Port Lockroy. I would be sick if Sox Nation would win this race. And
yeah, I see what you mean.
And she drew barrier 14 there. She's drawn barrier 8 here. You know, she ran in a Queensland Oaks at the end of last prep and not only ran in it, she won it. So that was out to 2,200 metres. So you could argue that the 1,800's even more suited in her favour. And she was only beaten 2.5 lengths there. And she did the donkey work out in front. So I think if she's, you know, got another run left in her, I think $12 is a big price for her. And looking at the weight scale here, I think, you know, this is a weight for age contest, but you know, a lot of these, I'm looking at Sox Nation, I'm looking at Storyville, I'm looking at Bustler. Like they're all pretty much on level weights and like for like weights anyway. So they're rising about 3 kilos in the weights anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. There's horses like Democracy Manifest and Light Infantry Man who are actually worse weighted at the weights here. So
yeah.
I'm gonna back Sox Nation again. I think she ran pretty well, all things considered, last start, and I think getting out to the 1,800 metres will suit for her.
I think the key for her as well is she did a lot to try and get a nice run in the first third in the railway. Like from the gate 8, like you said, you know, she could probably sit in the same spot without spending too many petrol tickets. So she's definitely in my numbers, Sox Nation. I just think the addition of attrition into this race is bringing genuine weight for age form, albeit at Group 2, Group 3 levels, probably good enough.
Mm. I reckon you're well justified there, mate. You don't have to keep selling. I've already bought what you're selling.
You're not going to buy it anyway.
No.
like I'm trying to sell to someone who's not interested in what I have. What about this product? Do you want some? No, mate, I don't need it. I don't need that product in my life.
I do think of the locals, at the price and the barrier and the setup and the jockey, Super Smink, I reckon, if I was having one of the locals, I think she is set up really, really nicely here.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think she ran a belter in the railway. She draws perfectly. Super Smink. And, geez, the filly is a short price Storyville, but you don't see Billy Pike get down to 50 kilos very often. And gate 1 for some, you might think, oh, shit. But for Pikey, he'll just stalk the lead. He'll be on the rail. He'll just go for the breaks and go for home.
Mate, she won't be winning. It's not the last. You need Pikey in the last, mate.
Mate,
no.
Can't he do a running double?
Yeah, of course he can. Actually, let's have a look at that. Live odds right now. Oh, no odds are up with the good people at Ned's as I'm looking right now. But he is...
well.
I don't even think he has a ride in the last.
You're kidding.
That's blasphemy.
Well, it's Pikey's last, so maybe that'll count. The penultimate race in the card.
Wow. Well, there you go. All right, let's go to Ballarat. The Ballarat Cup, 2,000 metres listed, handicap. Now, I would have thought this is a very similar race to last week. So, yeah, this pattern. Got to have a look into it, I would have thought. Up to 20 mil is forecast combined on Friday and on Saturday. So, could be rain-affected ground. Did you have any plays here?
Oh, look, I think if depending on what the deck's doing, if we're getting a dry deck, I couldn't possibly back him if it's wet. But Young Werther at $13, I don't think is the worst here. Like he's coming from a Caulfield Cup, so he's got fresher legs. He's coming back into 2,000 metres, which I think is more his jam. He ran fifth in a Turnbull, which has absolutely unbelievable form coming out of it. And, you know, he's one of those horses who will pop up in a race like this and perform well. As soon as he gets to, Group 2s, Group 1s, he's got nothing. But at $13 in a race like this, he could appeal young Werder on a dry deck. Look, I've found Globe recently. Stepping up to 2,000 metres from 1,600 metres is probably a little bit of a query for mine for this horse, but he's only fourth up. And then Poison Chalice, he's only got to carry 54.5 kilos. On the quick backup, if he goes from a heavy to a heavy, 1,800 metres to 2,000 metres, tricky gate, but he could win at $4.80. So they're probably the three for me.
Yeah, I was kind of gravitating towards Young Werther as well, which is not typically my vibe. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Especially both of us. What the hell?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes of this race, to be honest. Who I think I think he's better at this time of his career, but he gives me a bit of Young Werther vibes, and he's like the Adelaide edition of him, is Air Assault. He puts in every start, but he's won a Group 3, but he's won 5 listed races, Air Assault, out of 8 attempts.
Air Assault is 3 years younger than Young Werther, but Young Werther's only had 13 more starts. So Air Assault, by the time he's 7, will have bloody 60 starts to his name.
Yeah, and he'll be the king of Adelaide, king of Morphettville, Air Assault. I'd love to know his record outside of South Australia.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So he's one that I was thinking, but again, to your point, and why I'm not as keen on Ain't No Deal Done again, is the step up from 1,600 to 2,000. I think that's very well put by you. So yeah, I'll probably have a little flutter on Ain't No Deal Done if the track is a good track. Similar with Miramasa, just out of pure love for those animals. But
he can't find a dry track to save his life, poor Miramasa.
Nah, he can't. But sometimes you just got to be more versatile. So all right, let's go to the farm, Eagle Farm. Currently rated a soft 6, bit of rain around, nothing too major, I don't think. So could be an improving track by the time it gets to Saturday. Race 5 is the Just Now Stakes, Team Red, listed 1,300 metres for the fillies and mares open handicap. On nominations, I was keen on Cigar Flick, but I'm not keen on the price, $1.90 with the good people at Ned's.
Oh, toxic odds. I have no doubt that she is probably the best horse in the race, but you know where she's going to be? Unless, Chris Waller does a Chris Waller and the first time in her life she, takes the stitches behind the lead with a nice gait. He's definitely got that in him, Chris Waller. But I couldn't possibly take, sub $2 with good people at Ned's. But then I look at the rest of the race. I'm like, okay, if you're not really sure, you've got to try and find some value. And I like number 5, Burning Bell. She was trialling Super, and then ran really well on the Goldie to run third over 1,200 metres, and then went into the Tats Cup race, which was a listed race that Yellow Brick won. And she ran last there, but had excuses, so vetted slow recovery. I think based on that trial form and that first up run, coming back to 1,300 metres, ideally on a soft track, good track, maybe at $17 with good people at Ned, she'll run a race.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking of it the exact same way. If Cigar Flick goes out, wins at $1, $1.80, $1.90, so be it. I thought at this grade, this time of year, bit of a changing of the guard, I would say. So it's what I want to see is, or what I'm hunting for, is some mares or some fillies or mares that ended their prep with a couple of victories, and that's what number 8 Wrapped did. Barrier 2 likely is more of a run-on type, but from that barrier could hopefully hold a bit of a position, and it's only coming out of provincial grade in New South Wales. But absolutely brained him in the Grafton Guineas, one of the time-honoured races of our time. 54 kilos. I'm getting $14 to find out, and had a couple of trials heading into this. So I think she's a mare now who, you know, could be on the way up. So I'm wrapped with wrapped. Right. Race 6, the UNU Recruitment Tail Stakes. 1,500 metres listed open handicap. Surely there's some inside mail from like the sponsor of this event.
Look, I think the sponsor of this event would be surprised to know that he's sponsoring this event. To be honest.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Look, I thought the favourite was looking pretty good in this race. Number 5, I Am Artie. Yeah, sure, been running around in benchmark 85s, but has been winning and winning well. The only concern is the last few races there hasn't really been many horses that have won. So you have to go back to his race in a benchmark 70 on the 14th of September, Eagle Farm, over 1,200 metres. There's been 6 horses that have won out of that race. So that's, you know, you got to go a fair bit back. But, the record speaks for itself. So I think the favourite would be hard to beat, but I don't have any particularly strong opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, mate. What about Inver Park? For Australian bloodstock, Chris Lees, you know, has form around Briasa a couple of starts back. Was given that horse weight. Actually had an apprentice on, so they were equal weights. But, beaten 4 lengths there. Barrier 2 back to this sort of grade. I feel like Inver Park could be featuring here at about $4.50. So no real steal at that price. But
no. Chris Lees, look, haven't checked the data, but I feel like he's going well at the moment.
Yeah, that's my gut feel too. You know, sometimes you just got to trust your gut.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the last race that we will cover this year is race 8, the Bribey, 1,000-metre dash listed open handicap. We get to see Rothy here. Roth fires your top weight, 61 kilos. He is giving all of this field at least 4 kilos, right down to 8 kilos with Tiger Shark.
The old boy. Good to see him back. Look, I think he can win this race despite the top weight. Rothfire, like, he's got the class. But I'm taking him on, but, you know, it's not like he's a $2 favourite or anything like that. But I thought Shilar's Moment was a really good winner last start. And, yeah, she had weight relief in that race. But she's got weight relief here as well. So 53 kilos, gate 1. And she's got a pretty prominent sort of racing style. So, yeah, I think Shilar's Moment at $6 will go well. Tiger Shark seems to, whenever she's a big price, run super. She's $15 here with the good people at Ned. Dross draw, but I would not be surprised if she popped up at a big price as well.
Yeah, Tiger Shark has some talent. She can't put 2 runs together, Tiger Shark.
Can't. If you look at her last 10, it's literally win, dross, dross, third, win, dross. So yeah, she's the definition of mixing her form. But if she's $15, it's probably worth a bet.
Well,
just trusting the fact that she's due for a good one.
So she has. It's unbelievable to say that, but it is true. Like, she has a winning strike rate of 33% and a place strike rate of 44%. So she had a dross run last start. She's due for a good run here.
Literally.
Yeah. So who bloody knows? But I thought that was one of the most interesting runners of the day. And, you know, given it's virtually off season, well, it is. I thought Cannonball was fascinating. He was one of mine once upon a time. This horse ran at Royal Ascot twice. Remember that?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He did nothing. But I have noted that he has been gelded, and he does call the Sunshine State home these days. So, you know, his trials haven't been anything to really write home about, but he's $21. Like, you know, if he shows his talent as, I reckon he was a 3-year-old when he was showing that talent, extremely lightly raced. Obviously had some issues other than like what was going going on between his ears and his back legs. So if he's figured it out, I feel like Cannonball could be a blowout at $21.
Yeah, and look, if the ultimate gear change works and he wins this, he won't be $21 anytime soon.
Well said, mate. Yeah. Well, that's all she wrote. What was the highlight for you this year? Question without notice.
Oh, God. Look, two things for us were the 2 weekends down in Melbourne. Got to see Pride of Jenny on the Friday night, and the crowd was just swelling when she jumped out to a massive lead. That was phenomenal. And then seeing Via Sistina in that Cox Plate, arguably the greatest Cox Plate win, in our lifetime and maybe of all time. We were there for it, and that's unbelievable. So, look, what did I say at the start of the season? Drifters, what's in vogue? Getting to the track, and that just goes to show getting to the track pays dividends.
Yeah, mate, you're forgetting we also tipped the card that day.
we did tip the card as well. What's your highlight, mate?
Well, obviously that, but yeah, no, yeah, tipping the card between us on what could be argued like the best day of racing of the year, if at Cox Plate Day. Oh, Derby Day with the lads, recency bias is everything, obviously. But that was fantastic. It's missed at $12 was fantastic.
It was outrageous, naughty behaviour, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Royal Ascot was great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Going to Stradbroke Day, Allegra on that was fantastic. And then jumping on plane relay that night, that was good. Yeah, plenty of memories, mate. It's always good fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. It's another great season. With some phenomenal racing. And the beauty about horse racing is that, you don't really know what's around the corner. There could be more stars unearthed next season. Like, it's just the best thing for it, right? Is it keeps rolling on.
Yeah.
So much better than every other sport ever.
Yeah. Well said. Well said by you. Big thank you to our listeners, Drifters. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for subscribing, for following, for commenting, for engaging. Thank you so much. We've definitely seen the listenership explode this year, which has been fantastic. And hopefully when we're back next year, we'll be doing another tipping comp as well. That was a nice little initiative by you, DJ. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's been a hell of a lot of fun. If you've found a couple of winners that we might have leaned you into, if you could give us a follow on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen, drop a review, drop a 5-star rating, all that good stuff. It'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, ditto, mate, to everything you said. Thanks so much, Drifters, for all your support. Thanks to you, my co-host, for flying the flag, captaining the ship, just generally supporting some of my absolutely bizarre and wild views when it comes to horse racing.
Mate, likewise. I think we're two peas in a pod there. We have some funky ideas, but actually, we're talking about some of them a year ago, and people are only jumping on now.
Oh, trendsetters, mate. Trendsetters. Look out.
Yeah. So we'll set some new trends in 2025. All right. Thank you, Drifters. We'll see you next year.
Thanks, Drifters. See you.